Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor?
America, little less than 8 days from today, the second largest city in America decides whether to re-elect the mayor who was at a cocktail party in Ghana when 12 people got burned alive, or hand the keys to a man who lost his house, his parents' house, and his entire street in that same fire. Rick Caruso spent $109 million of his own money in 2022 trying to prove Karen Bass was the wrong choice for the city. He lost by 9 points. Spencer Pratt is running on a fraction of that money, outraised Bass dollar for dollar this year, and is sitting within 3 to 8 points of the incumbent with less than a week on the clock. Something changed between 2022 and today, and it wasn't the Republican. But here's the part that got buried in every single piece of coverage this week. The reason this race is competitive has absolutely nothing to do with AI ads or celebrity name recognition. It comes down to one specific documented decision Bass made 9 weeks before the sparks flew in the Palisades, and she has not answered for it on any stage, in any interview, to any camera.
This is where Mayor Bass lives. You notice something? Or here, where Nithya Raman's $3 million mansion sits. They don't have to live in the mess they've created where you live. This is where I live. They let my home burn down. I know what the consequences of failed leadership are. That's why I'm running for mayor.
1 minute, a mayor in a mansion that didn't burn. A candidate is standing in the dirt where his house used to be, and the man in the dirt is currently outraising the woman in the mansion. The donors behind that money, I'm going to give you those names in about 2 minutes. Some of them will genuinely surprise you. Here's why nobody has explained about why those specific donors are writing those specific checks, and the answer to that question changes what this race is actually about. What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. 2 polls dropped this week. Both land in the same number. Emerson College, Bass 30%, Pratt 22%, Raymond 19%, Independent Sentinel, Bass 25%, Pratt 22%, Raymond 18%. UCLA found that 40% of LA voters are still undecided. California, as I mentioned in a previous video, runs on a jungle primary. All the candidates from all the parties share the same ballot on June 2nd. 2 of the top finishers advance to a November runoff, no matter what party here. There is no 50% threshold. You just need to beat everybody else in the second place. Bass is most likely finishing first. The real fight right now is between Pratt and Raymond Raman for second. Pratt has locked up 75% of Republicans in the city behind him. Raymond is splitting progressives. If Pratt holds second, November becomes Bass v. Pratt. Karen Bass versus Spencer Pratt, one-on-one, and Bass's current job approval rating is 24%. A 24% approval incumbent, one-on-one against a man who lost his house in a fire that Karen Bass, was supposed to prevent.
Right before my eyes, the future I envisioned for my family burned to the ground. Standing here 1 year later, I have to tell you the most heartbreaking part of the past year wasn't being displaced or losing everything I own. It was the realization that all of this was preventable because the state and local leaders let us burn.
January 7, 2026, 1 year to the day. He didn't open up a campaign office at a downtown hotel. He walked out onto his burned remains of his street, surrounded by his neighbors, and said, "They let us burn." Let that sink for a minute there. 12 people died in that fire. His home is gone. Spencer Pratt's home is gone. His parents' home is gone. And the mayor responsible for the city's fires preparedness was at an embassy cocktail party 8,000 miles away in Ghana. Spencer Pratt didn't say that he wanted to be mayor. He said the city gave him no choice. The distinction between ambition and obligation is what 75% of LA residents heard when the race actually started, and a growing number of Democrats also heard it as well. The fundraising numbers are why. A man who lost everything that he's built, his house, his parents' house, his entire street, because the people running the system were somewhere else. That is not just a California story. That is what happens when you trust institutions with what you can't afford to lose. This is why I am proud to partner with today's video sponsor, Noble Gold Investments. And that is exactly why I trust Noble Gold Investments. Gold just hit an all-time high at $5,600 in January 2026, up 65% in 2025 alone, the best single year since 1979, while the dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power since 1913. Gold has outperformed the S&P 500 over the last 20 years, you guys. Noble Gold helps Americans move their existing 401k and IRA into physical gold and silver held in your name in an IRS-approved vault. We're talking about zero taxes, zero penalties, and now new qualified accounts get a free 1/10 ounce gold coin worth over $1,000 just for getting started. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com/Tyson. Again, that's noblegoldinvestments.com/Tyson, or call 877-646-5347. Noble Gold, that's who I trust. Now, let me show you exactly who's writing the checks in this race, because some of these names will genuinely surprise you.
From January 1st to April 18th, Bass has so far taken in just under $500,000 from contributors, but that's behind Pratt's nearly $540,000 in donations. Pratt has the support of realtor and reality star Josh Altman, who says he and his clients all want the same thing: to feel safe and make permitting easier.
It's not these major corporations that make everything move in this town. It's just not. It's the mom and pop shop. And those are the people that are getting hurt the most. And I think our biggest export now, unfortunately, is frustrated business owners.
Bass, $498,000. Pratt, $540,000 January through April. The CEO of the Intercontinental Exchange, which runs New York Stock Exchange, founder of Tinder, the founder of Ring Home Security Systems, the CEO of the Universal Music Group, and his son, the CEO of Atlantic Records. These are not out-of-the-state Republican donors. These are Los Angeles business leaders, most of them Democrats, who looked at what their city has become and decided the incumbent costs more than the party endorsement. When those names show up on a fundraising report for a Republican candidate in the most Democratic major city in America, the message is definitely not ideology. The message is new management. Now, here's the piece that's buried in the debate transcript and skipped in every viral clip compilation. 9 weeks before January 7th, that puts us late October 2025. Los Angeles Fire Department Chief Kristen Cowley, you guys remember her, submitted a formal budget request to the mayor's office. $17 million for additional fire equipment. Not a proposal, not a wish list here, a specific document requested with a paper trail. And Karen Bass denied it.
A lot of people will talk about climate change and hurricane-force winds. The winds in the Pacific Palisades never reached higher than 40 miles per hour. For those first 6 hours, they didn't go above 27 miles per hour. So without those two reservoirs filled with 117 million gallons and 5 million gallons.
And then the reservoirs. Bass appointed Janess Quinones to lead the LA Department of Water and Power. Under that appointment, 2 reservoirs the firefighters needed to fight the Palisade blaze were drained. They were drained. They weren't damaged, not low. They were drained. Firefighters had to fly all the way to Malibu and Encino to get water while the fire was actively burning through neighborhoods and taking lives. Bass's defense at that debate was those reservoirs were for drinking water, not for firefighting. But obviously, she couldn't dispute the outcome. Firefighters did not have the water that they actually needed. 12 people died. The funding had been denied 9 weeks before it even started.
Mayor Bass was at an embassy cocktail party in Ghana as the Palisades fire exploded. Now, I'm reading this report in the LA Times written by Julia Wick. She writes, as the Palisades fire exploded in Los Angeles on January the 7th, Mayor Karen Bass was posing for photos at an embassy cocktail party in Ghana. That's according to pictures posted on social media. By the time she departed the gathering for her flight home, massive plumes of smoke were visible across a wide swath of the city. Now, they write Bass was in the West African nation as part of a Biden administration delegation to the inauguration of Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama, which she had attended earlier in the day.
She left for Ghana on January 4th. The National Weather Service had been flagging extreme fire weather since January 2nd, 2 days before her departure. She posed for photos at an embassy reception at 8 p.m., Ghana time, by the way, noon Los Angeles time. Evacuation orders in the Palisades came minutes after those photos were taken. She boarded a military transport and landed back in LA around 11 o'clock on January 8th. More than 24 hours after the fire had ignited. And you guys, I found a statement that she made back in 2021 in the New York Times, where Bass said as mayor, the only cities that she would travel to were DC, Sacramento, San Francisco, and New York City. Not Ghana. She made that commitment 3 years before a single ember even lit in the Palisades. Then Miss Karen Greasy Afro Bass flew to Ghana the week the National Weather Service said the city should prepare for the worst fire conditions of the year. Then McGreasy Afro tried to fix the story after the fact.
Two sources that say Mayor Bass ordered edits to the fire department's highly anticipated after-action report. Bass, the Times sources say, told then interim LAFD Chief Ronnie Villanueva she was worried the findings would leave the city legally vulnerable for failures on lack of staffing and pre-deploying fire crews. Sources tell the Times Bass asked for those admissions to be, quote, removed or softened.
Didn't align with policy. That's what the Los Angeles Fire Department's own after-action report originally said about the pre-deployment decision that left firefighters without equipment when 12 people were burning alive. That language, you guys, was changed to read above and beyond. The absolute direct opposite of the original findings. The LA Times cited two sources who said Bass ordered those changes because she was, quote unquote, worried about the legal exposure. Bass's office called the story muck-raking journalism, whatever that means. The LA Times said they stand by every word of their reporting. A petition calling for her resignation hit 142,000 signatures. She's currently running for re-election. And when the Hollywood Reporter sat down with her this week and asked whether Spencer Pratt's surge, whether any of this has prompted reflection. Believe it or not, you guys, she said, it has not prompted any soul searching for me. This is from Karen Bass from The Hollywood Reporter. No clip needed here. The quote stands on its own. No soul searching. No Eckhart Tolle, Oprah soul search from a mayor sitting at 24% approval rating, whose fire chief's funding requests were absolutely stamped red denied, whose DWP appointee drained the reservoirs, who was posing for photos when evacuation orders went out. No names, no regrets, a little less than 8 days before the primary. I've been building this for a reason, because what comes next, you guys, is obviously a part that they don't really want you to see. This past week on CNN, Bass said the AI-generated campaign ads, the one where she was depicted as the Joker while Los Angeles burns in the background, are quote-unquote violent. She called them very scary. She said they play into people's desperations. I'm using a lot of air quotes here. She asked Pratt to stop sharing them. Okay.
Bass's campaign responded saying, quote, Spencer is doing the best Trump impression, but it's not going to work in LA.
Artificial intelligence has been around for a while.
Pratt's campaign did not create these viral AI videos. Republican strategist Matt Klink points out Pratt is not the first to share AI-generated ads, but he says there's a reason they're resonating online.
Whether you support the mayor, the incumbent, or you support Nithya Raman or Spencer Pratt, I don't think anybody is going to say that they're happy with the trajectory that Los Angeles is on.
Some warn that certain AI-generated ads can lead to voter deception.
They call those deep fakes. That's the dangerous way to use artificial intelligence, or where you have people saying something that they wouldn't normally say and you use it in a very serious environment.
Klink says that's not the case with the ads Pratt is sharing. The question now is, will these viral ads actually translate to votes?
Not going to work in LA. That is the official position of the Karen Bass re-election campaign, issued the same week she was polling at 25% in her own city and trailing on fundraising. Her campaign is telling reporters the opponent isn't gaining traction. Her own data is telling a completely different story. You can believe the press release or the polling, but not both.
Which is the funniest thing I've ever heard, coming from the lady who allowed 12 people to burn alive, and she's worrying about AI.
She is publicly worried about a cartoon. 12 people died in a fire on her watch, and she said both things in one sentence. That line spread across the internet because it required no context. The receipts are already sitting on the table, and here's the honest version of this, my friends. Bass has a real argument on this. Believe it or not, I know it's incredibly funny. It is absolutely hilarious what Spencer Pratt is doing. Political violence imagery is genuinely dangerous in 2026, especially with everything going on. That is a legitimate concern. But she's making that argument while she's never once publicly said the names of the 12 people who died in her city under her watch. She walked past reporters in complete silence on camera and told a national magazine she has no soul searching to do. And now miraculously, Greasy Afro wants to run a safety argument about imagery. You don't get to build a fire and tell everybody that a cartoon about it is it's too dark. Oh my God, it's too dark. Yeah. Bass signed the budget that cut the fire department request. Bass put the person who drained the reservoirs in that position. Bass boarded a plane on a red flag advisory day. The fire happened, and now Bass wants to campaign against the imagery of what happened rather than answer to what she did. Trust me, you guys, that playbook has a name, and we've seen it before plenty of times. The fire here is the loudest argument in this race. The argument that reaches every Los Angeles voter, including the 55% of residents who didn't lose their house in the Palisades, is what's happening on their street every single day.
Los Angeles doesn't have a homeless problem. We have a drug problem. The DEA will tell you that over 90% of the homeless population in LA are hardcore illicit drug users.
How many people are using illicit drugs in the homeless community? I would say it's incredibly high.
20%, 30%?
Of the overall problem?
Yeah.
Over 90%.
90%. That comes from the Drug Enforcement Administration, not from Pratt's campaign, not from a conservative think tank. The exact same federal agency that tracks fentanyl trafficking and cartel operations in American cities is telling us that the overwhelming majority of people living in LA streets are addicted to hardcore drugs. For years, Los Angeles has been dumping and pouring money into housing programs to solve what the federal law enforcement says is primarily a drug problem. Bass's Inside Safe program, her signature homeless initiative here, spent $400 million. $400 million. This number is going to blow you guys away. $400 million. And it housed 6 people. 6 people. 40% ended up back in the streets within 12 months. That is not a Pratt campaign statistic. That is a city public health report covered by the Los Angeles Times. Bass cited that same program at the debate as evidence homeless is trending in the right direction. I guess it just depends on where you're standing. 7 people are dying on the streets of Los Angeles every single day. That, my friend, is city data. The direction argument and the death rate do not belong in the same sentence.
Oh, how is he going to win in a deep blue city? All of my supporters here are Democrats.
I've been speaking to Spencer. I said, get the South Central, get the South Central. And he sent me a flyer right as I was saying it. I was like, oh, oh, he's coming. This is it.
Look, Angelinos are frustrated. We are dealing with crime and homelessness.
We're now less than 2 weeks until the election day. How are you feeling?
Amazing. I just got texted a new poll, even though I don't really believe any polls, but it has me surging now at 25%. I'll text it to you. I just got it. Legit poll. I feel great because I believe I'm going to win in 13 days outright with 51% of the vote.
And so him coming out, he's showing that I care. He knows exactly what neighborhood this is. That's exactly why he's here.
The block party was in South Central Los Angeles, not Santa Monica, not Brentwood, South Central. Derek Johnson, the man speaking, says that politicians have avoided neighborhoods like that for decades. He is standing at a Spencer Pratt campaign event calling it beautiful. That is not something you manufacture. That is the ground actually moving in a city that is supposedly 55% Democrat and untouchable for Republican candidates.
Pretending that they're in control of the situation is not compassion, it's cruelty. Her arguments are designed as obstacles to solutions. Instead of confronting a problem, she denies it exists.
A model specifically built in a way that can't produce the outcome it claims to pursue. Pratt backed his alternative with existing law. SB 43, passed by Democrats, already in the books, already gives the city legal authority to place severe drug users in a mandatory 72-hour treatment hold. The law exists. It was there before the race started. Bass is obviously not using it. Pratt says the day that he takes office, he's going to start using it. Now, I want to give you the honest version on what could stop Pratt from making November, because this channel doesn't pretend obstacles obviously don't exist here.
Do you fear that they're going to do that same thing to you? That there's going to be a massive onslaught of money to tell everybody that you're a Republican?
They could do skywriting all day long. I'm about to do skywriting, so I got a booth at night. So they can do anything they want. Everyone that supports me is a Democrat.
Trump endorsed him in a city where Democrats outnumber Republicans 4-1. A USC professor told CNN that the more Pratt associates with MAGA Republicanism, okay, I'm going to put that in air quotes, the more that he loses. That is the real ceiling here. Bass used that same playbook against Caruso, quote unquote, party labels, Trump connection, outside spending, and won by 9 points in 2022. Those ads are already being assembled by Bass's team. The threat is obviously real. But here's Pratt's answer. Democrats in Los Angeles do not want drug addicts in front of their kids' schools, in front of their homes. Democrats don't want fire departments funding cut. Democrats don't want their mayor at an assembly reception when 12 people die. You can put a party label on a candidate. You cannot put one on a burning building. The question on June 2nd is not whether LA trusts Republicans, because we know that they do. It is whether LA trusts Bass. Her own approval number answered that question 8 months ago. The donors answered it with their checks. The Bloc Party in South Central answered it on Tuesday night. A little less than 8 days from now, the voters, they're going to answer. America, here's what nobody is calculating. If Pratt makes the November ballot, Bass allies are already building the same campaign they ran against Caruso. Party labels, Trump connections, outside money. But here's the difference, my friends. Caruso was asking LA to trust a stranger. Pratt is asking LA to trust someone the fire already vetted. You can question his politics, but you can't question why he showed up. When the attack ads call him an outsider, he can point to the pile of ash and say, I'm the only person in this race with real skin in the game regarding the outcome. The Caruso lesson is money doesn't move the city, a reason does. And in the same week, Bass told reporters that she has no regrets. Her own polls show her in a 3-point race. The gap between her public confidence and her private numbers is where the election actually lies. This is the same pattern every time. The politician who built the problem performs certainty. The person who lived the problem shows up anger. Eventually, the voters decide which one they trust more. 12 people burned alive. Bass won't say their names. Pratt won't stop saying them. And LA gets to decide. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comments section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe. And as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.